Well, the GSB. Could you introduce yourself?
No problem. My name is Michael de Pape. I work for a company called Betafence. Betafence is actually what we like to call ourselves the world leader in fencing. Mm-hmm. And lately we're putting a lot of focus on high security fencing.
Especially for other companies then?
Well, we do fencing all over the world. Basically, yes, it's for other companies. Well, we do fencing for everybody. We can also do it for regular consumers. Mm-hmm. But we try to focus on bigger companies, a lot of companies in oil and gas industries, country borders, stuff like that.
And what is the country you worked in for 9 months?
That was also Betafence. We have plants all over the world. Yes. Our headquarters are in Belgium. But when I was working in South Africa for 10 months, that was also for Betafence, but for the plant there in Betafence in South Africa, mm-hmm. and also the projects team in South Africa.
Yeah, okay. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about the cultural in different countries. So first, the first question is a working knowledge of the national language necessary in order to perform well in your job, at your job?
The thing is, in South Africa, the easy thing of South Africa is that the national languages there is Afrikaans, mm-hmm. and English. So basically all the people there, they can understand English. So that was very convenient for me. And even if I was trying to explain myself and I had to switch over to Dutch, even then they could understand parts of what I was saying, because Afrikaans is actually mm-hmm. coming from the Dutch language. But you also have to understand that in South Africa there's like, I think, 11 official languages. So there's a huge variety of languages over there, of which English and Afrikaans are the main languages.
So you could say that before you go abroad for a longer period of time, some preparation work might be a good idea.
I think so. Yes, of course. You have to understand what the culture looks like, what the languages are, where you will end up. But in my case, I mean, everything had to go very quickly, so I didn't mm-hmm. have a lot of preparation time, which I actually find very nice, because you arrive there in a strange country with a certain idea in mind.
Yeah.
But then you arrive there and the people there, they surprise you, and the culture surprises you. So that is very nice.
Okay, perfect. Some more things about food and drinks, like what were the nicest food or drinks you came into contact, or what's, for example, or was the national dish of South Africa?
Let's start with food.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's a huge mix of cultures and nationalities in South Africa, and because there's such a huge mix, you also get a huge mix of food. If you look at South Africa, you can actually divide South Africa in 3 main groups. You have white people, you have black people, and you have colored people. The white people, they are, well, basically the main thing for the white people is that they are very fond to their what they call braai. And braai is basically it's a barbecue. So whenever they have the opportunity, they will go out for braais. They do it at home, they do it with friends. Whenever there's sports, they braai.
Okay.
Then you have your colored people, and these are people that are actually coming from the parts from India, Asian people. India people, and you have a lot of Indian food there as well in South Africa. Very spicy food, but it's very good. They try to mix it up with local stuff.
Yeah.
And they make it their own dish. It's not really an Indian dish, but they try to make it their own dish, and that makes it a very nice blend, even for us more European people, because it's less spicy.
Okay.
And then you also have your typical South African or African dishes, something like boboti, which is very difficult to explain what it is exactly, but I think the best is to compare it a little bit with moussaka. So yeah, it's with curry and with eggs and everything, but it's something you put in the oven. Very nice.
Okay.
And then you also have your what is also a very typical thing, and what is very nice is something called vetkoek. Very funny word, but it's very nice. Because it's like some kind of a dough, and you put in minced meat, minced beef, and then you deep fry it, and then that's the dish. You can have it for main course or for dessert.
It's a meal on its own.
It is, yes. It's very nice.
Okay.
So I think that is for the food part, and then drinks is easy. I mean, South Africa is a wine country. At least the region where I stayed in the Cape area is a wine area. So you have all your typical kinds of wine: white, red, anything. Okay. But what South African people are very fond of is their brandy and coke. Whenever you go to a pub, they will ask you, do you want to have a brandy and coke? So, of course, I'm coming from Belgium, so I said, no, I want a beer. And then they looked funny and they said, no, take a brandy and coke.
Right. So you could say what beer is for us is brandy and coke for the South African.
Yes, they like to mix things around a little bit.
Okay.
They use brandy, or they use whiskey or rum or whatever.
Okay. Some more questions about working abroad itself. Why did you decide to work abroad?
That's a good question.
Or what was the most appealing about working abroad? Because you said, for example, that the fact that you didn't have a lot of preparation time, you liked it because you were kind of rolling into a new adventure.
Exactly. I think I have to go back a few years.
Yeah, sure.
There was a colleague of mine, well, my boss actually a little bit, and he was located in Dubai.
Yes.
And at that time he already asked me a question: would you be interested in moving to Dubai for work and come closer to where I am? And at that stage I already informed him yes, that would probably be an option. I would have to think about it, but I'm open to it. And then a couple of years gone by, and my contract at Beta Fence was going to end, so they were not able to extend it anymore. And at that time, that same guy, sales rep, contacted me again and said, well, hey, maybe you can do the same work, but just do it from our offices in South Africa. I said, well, of course. I discussed everything with Marlies, my girlfriend, and we decided, well, yeah, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, so let's do it. And I think in 1 or 2 weeks time I just decided and said, yeah, let's go for it.
And you rolled into a new adventure.
Exactly. Yes.
And how did you experience that? Like, for example, the first weeks, how did you experience your colleagues, the new working environment?
Well, it was a shock, but not necessarily a huge culture shock. It was more of a shock because I arrived there with not a lot. I didn't have a car, I didn't have a house, I didn't have a laptop, I didn't have a local phone, or I didn't have a bank account. Okay. So the first weeks I stayed in a bed and breakfast, and the first couple of weeks was just trying to settle down and trying to find a place to stay, trying to buy a car, all of that kind of thing, all those things, in fact.
Okay.
But I must say that in those first couple of weeks, and actually during my entire stay, the colleagues there in South Africa, they were amazing. They helped me in so many ways. It's incredible. Yeah.
Really? A very helpful people.
Very open people, yes.
Yeah.
Very warm people.
Okay. Some more things about adapting to abroad. So, yeah, did you have trouble adapting? Was it easy to adapt? I think we could use the previous answer. How did you experience the local behavior? Like, what's different? was more remarkable? Like, for example, the behavior, we drink beer, they drink a brandy and coke.
Yes.
Some remarkable differences between cultures.
Okay. Where I stayed was like I said, the Western Cape, which is basically it's the most European part of South Africa. Mm-hmm. So when I talk about a culture shock, that there wasn't really a big culture shock. That's because I was located in that area. Mm-hmm. A lot of white people, a lot of international companies there, and at first I didn't see a lot of differences. I mean, people over there, they work at the same rate as we do, at least in our company.
Yes.
But I assume that is because they work in an international environment. They get in contact with people from Belgium, from America, from all over the world.
Yes.
So it's different. But if you then look at more closely at smaller businesses or independent working people,
yeah,
then yes, you do see some differences, especially more with the black people or the colored people.
Yeah.
They try to enjoy every day, and you see that also when they are working. So, for instance, they would work for one day, and then the day after they see, okay, we want to enjoy this day, so no, we're not going to work.
Okay,
stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay, then I have only one more question for you. If you could give one piece of advice to perhaps a future employee who's going abroad, what would that be?
If you ever get a chance to do such a thing, don't hesitate, just do it. Mm-hmm. Because it, like I said, it will be most probably a once in a lifetime opportunity. And once you're there, the experience you gain by being in an international environment, by being but also being in a local company, that experience, you will use it and take advantage of that for the rest of your life. I'm 100% convinced that be the case. You will encounter people that are so friendly and open-minded, and I think the fact that you're coming to their country makes them even more open. They enjoyed it themselves as well. They really liked it, trying to meet people from other countries. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just go for it.
Just go for it.
Yes.
Okay.